Breakups in general are hard, no doubt, but what about friendship breakups? How do you know if it's time to end a friendship? What if this person has been in your life for years or even decades? Is it messed up to cut someone off that you've known for that long? How do you even approach a conversation like that? These are questions that I've heard from others and that I've also had to ask myself a few times. So first, let's talk about the qualities of a good friend. These are both what we should expect from others and also the qualities that we should possess ourselves if we want to be considered a good friend. Not surprisingly, these qualities are super similar to those that we would want in romantic relationships. The first is trustworthiness. They're reliable and they can be trusted with your thoughts and your feelings and your secrets. Number two is loyalty. Ideally, this person is willing to stick with you through thick and thin. They have your back and they support you when things get tough. There is one caveat though, and it's that they don't automatically agree with everything you do and say just because they're your friend. There also should be a level of honesty and a willingness to be upfront with each other, even if it means having difficult conversations. I'd like to think this is a trait that I'm pretty good at. If a friend comes to me seeking advice for a problem, I try to look at the situation objectively, and if needed, I will call them out on their BS. This isn't easy for everyone to do, but I do think it's good to have at least one person in your circle who is willing to do this for you and lovingly keep you in check. Number three is a friend that's supportive. You support each other in your goals and your dreams, and it doesn't feel like it's a competition. I think it's important to understand that in friendship, you will not always be in the same place emotionally. And part of being a good friend is being able to acknowledge the other person's current life circumstances and vice versa. For example, you may be at a really high point in life. Maybe you just got engaged, or you found out that you're having a baby, or you just got a big promotion. And your friend, on the other hand, just went through a bad breakup, or they just got laid off, or maybe they're struggling with infertility. Understanding and acknowledging your friend's current situation or experience and them doing the same for you is really what maintains a good friendship. So if you happen to be one of those people that tends to be laser focused on what's going on in your own life, consider just stepping back a little bit and talking to your friends and seeing how they're doing and what's going on with them. Or if you know that something is going on with your friend and they're having a hard time, definitely reach out to them and let them know that you are there to support them. Other qualities of great friendships are shared values, time and effort put into the friendship, and a mutual respect for each other's opinions, decisions, and boundaries. Okay, so now that we know what a healthy friendship looks like, what happens if one or both people in the friendship aren't really exhibiting those qualities? I think it's important to remember that in a friendship, just like a relationship, people make mistakes. We're not always going to be on our A game 100% of the time. That's why it's so important to develop self-awareness, to be able to recognize if maybe you're not being the type of friend that you want to be. I recently made a video all about self-awareness and how life-changing that skill is. I'll link it below if you want to check that out after this video. Aside from the obvious red flags like betrayal and jealousy, some indications that it may be time to go separate ways might be a little bit more subtle. You may simply be growing apart as a result of changed values or priorities. This happens all the time, especially as we start to form our identities in our 20s and 30s. What maybe worked as a friendship during a certain period of your life may not serve you now. For example, my 20s involved a lot of social situations where there was a lot of heavy drinking and partying and that sort of thing. As I was heading toward my 30s, my mindset started to shift. I would think, why am I doing this? This isn't even fun for me. I don't even really like drinking that much. I'd realized that for almost an entire decade of my life, I was pretending to like something, simply because it was and still is in American culture considered the societal norm. It got to a point where I thought, what am I doing with my life? That was one of the larger turning points in my life where I thought about where my life was, the experiences that I'd had, and the potential trajectory of what was to come. And that's when I really started to change everything. Because I was changing and growing, I knew that I could no longer maintain certain friendships with certain people. It's not at all that they were bad people. It was just that my values and my priorities had changed and they just were not aligned. If you're trying to decide whether you should end a friendship or it might just be a bump in the road, consider if it's something that can be hashed out by talking to them. If it could just just be a misunderstanding or a lack of communication, then it might be worth mustering up the courage to have that difficult conversation. You shouldn't feel afraid to address issues and concerns with someone that is your friend, but understand that this may also bring up issues and concerns that they may have about certain things that you have done or ways that you have behaved. And that is okay. It's supposed to be a dialogue, two people talking. Agree to listen to each other and really try to understand what's going on. If you've already brought your concerns to this friend and they haven't made any changes or an effort to adjust them, it might be time to close that door. Maybe this person is just constantly negative, or they've proven themselves to be consistently unreliable or untrustworthy. It's up to you how many chances you're willing to give and how many conversations you're willing to have. In these situations, definitely prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. If being around this person is stressful, anxiety-inducing, or it just brings you down, it's absolutely okay to end the friendship, even if they've been in your life for many, many years. A rule of thumb that I like to use is to ask myself this question: do I admire this person? I want to surround myself with people who make me strive to want to be a better person because they set an example or a standard. And the same goes for dating. Do I admire this person? Is this someone I desire to be like? If the answer is no, I think that makes the decision a little bit more clear. How you choose to go about this breakup, so to speak, is entirely up to you. So if this person has deeply hurt you and made no effort to remedy the situation, or they have repeatedly shown you that they don't value you or your friendship, then I think it's okay to just go. I did this myself, and while I think it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, I felt like it was how I needed to handle the situation. This person had been my best friend for about 10 years, and I always felt like I put more into the relationship than what I got out. I was there for and supported this person through many difficult situations they experienced. And then something pretty profoundly devastating happened to me, and they were nowhere to be found. Not a call, not a text, nothing. That person's lack of support, empathy, or even acknowledgement really of what I was experiencing was enough for me to say, this is not a person that I want in my life any longer. And while it was an incredibly painful lesson to learn, it reshaped how I thought about friendship and who I would then allow into my circle. Navigating a friendship breakup is arguably just as hard as navigating a regular breakup. But just like in the latter situation, you will be okay. As people, we will always be growing and changing. And sometimes friends grow and change in different directions. Or when one person grows, another one doesn't. And that's okay. Focus on surrounding yourself with people that you respect, admire, and can have honest conversations with. When you set an intention to find these people, they will show up. When you can feel peace after letting go of someone who you considered a friend, you'll know it was the right decision. As always, I hope this message was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next video.